What is the darkest place on Earth you can actually visit? Not an abandoned building. Not a cave with the lights turned off. We mean places where the night becomes so dark that thousands of stars suddenly appear above you. Places where the Milky Way looks completely different from anything you can see in a city. Today, we're traveling to some of the darkest places on Earth that you can actually visit. Our journey begins in California. During the day, Death Valley is known for extreme heat, dry landscapes, and enormous salt flats. But after sunset, everything changes. The temperature drops, the desert becomes silent, and the sky turns incredibly dark. Far from major cities, artificial light is limited. On a clear night, the Milky Way stretches across the sky, while the mountains become nothing more than dark silhouettes. For a few hours, it feels like civilization has completely disappeared. And you don't have to leave the United States to experience another incredible dark sky. Joshua Tree National Park offers a completely different nighttime experience. During the day, its strange trees and giant rock formations attract visitors from around the world. But at night, the landscape becomes almost unrecognizable. The rocks turn into shadows, the desert becomes silent, and thousands of stars begin to appear. For someone used to living in a city, the darkness can feel almost unnatural. There are no skyscrapers. No traffic. No glowing signs. Just desert and stars. Now let's travel to southern Africa. The Namib Desert is one of the oldest deserts on Earth. Its enormous sand dunes create an incredible landscape during the day. But at night, the desert becomes even more impressive. The temperature falls, the wind becomes quieter, and artificial light is almost completely absent across huge areas. Imagine standing on top of a massive sand dune. Behind you is nothing but desert. In front of you is an empty horizon. And above you is the Milky Way. The stars seem to continue forever. But perhaps the most famous destination for dark skies is the Atacama Desert in Chile. The Atacama is one of the driest places on Earth. Clouds are rare, the air is extremely dry, and huge areas are far from artificial light. These conditions make the region one of the best places on Earth for astronomy. Some of the world's most important observatories are located here. But visitors can also experience the incredible night sky. When the sun disappears, the desert becomes almost invisible. Then the stars begin to appear. The Milky Way stretches across the darkness, and suddenly the universe feels much closer. New Zealand offers another extraordinary place to experience natural darkness. The Aoraki-Mackenzie region is famous for its incredibly dark skies. Surrounded by mountains, lakes, and wide open landscapes, the region has very little artificial light. At night, the Milky Way can become one of the most visible features in the sky. Thousands of stars appear above the mountains. The landscape becomes almost completely silent. And for many visitors, this is their first experience of a truly dark sky. But darkness isn't always found in deserts or mountains. Sometimes, it can be found underground. Deep beneath New Zealand are the famous Waitomo Caves. Inside the caves, sunlight disappears completely. But instead of seeing nothing, visitors can look upward and see thousands of tiny blue-green lights. These are glowworms. They create an effect that looks almost like a galaxy beneath the Earth. It is one of the strangest natural sights on the planet. The darkness is not empty. It is alive. Now let's travel much farther north. The Arctic experiences some of the longest periods of darkness on Earth. During winter, parts of the region experience polar night, when the sun remains below the horizon for an extended period. But the darkness has another secret. The Northern Lights. When conditions are right, green and purple waves of light can move across the sky. Snow and ice cover the landscape, while the aurora dances above. It is a completely different kind of darkness. And perhaps the most surprising thing about all these places is how rare true darkness has become. Modern cities produce enormous amounts of artificial light. Streetlights, buildings, highways, advertisements, and businesses illuminate the night. As a result, millions of people rarely experience a truly dark sky. The stars haven't disappeared. We have simply made them harder to see. In remote deserts, mountains, caves, and polar regions, the natural night still survives. And when you finally experience it, something strange happens. At first, the darkness can feel uncomfortable. Your eyes search for buildings, roads, and familiar objects. But slowly, your eyes adjust. Then you begin to see stars. More stars. And even more. The Milky Way appears. Suddenly, the darkness doesn't feel empty anymore. It feels peaceful. It reminds us that the night sky we see from cities is only a small part of what is actually above us. The darkest places on Earth are not necessarily the scariest. They can be some of the most beautiful places on the planet. Deserts. Mountains. Caves. Frozen landscapes. Places where artificial light is almost completely absent. Places where you can look up and see the universe as humans saw it for thousands of years. So if you ever want to experience the darkest places on Earth, you don't need to travel into space. You simply need to travel far enough away from the lights. Leave the city behind. Turn off the screen. Look up. And let the darkness show you what you've been missing. Because sometimes, the darkest places on Earth are also the places where you can see the most.